Good evening to all. I am Muhammad Tariq, interns team of Biodiversity Conservation Foundation. I am here today to highlight about BCF India. BCF India is an organization working on conservation of wildlife and natural resources for more than 2 decades long. The sense of strategic planning based on the holistic approaches connects our team with a common goal. PCF India has started its contribution to nature conservation by integrating indigenous knowledge with our lifestyle. For instance, looking into the biodiversity in our daily life is the first step towards conservation, is our strong belief. Based on this, our research team contributing various research activities from the Gulf of Mannar to the Himalayas, encouraging young generations to involve in the diversified field of study in the conservation aspects from myrmecology to cethology, and exploring the diverse ecosystem across the country. BCF India always focused to conserve the diversity of various ecosystems through field-based research activities and awareness that would encourage proactive action for conservation of wildlife and wild habitats. We are strongly involving in educating young minds towards nature conservation and create awareness among people to live in harmony with nature. As the fact, we are on the road of conservation with a holistic approach to it, and this approach drove us to extend to the virtual platform and use it effectively to enable conservation and connect young generations and common people with international prominent scientists. On behalf of BCF India, I am glad to welcome our Honorable Speaker Dr. B. Ram Manohar and all participants to this BCF India International webinar on the topic of an overview of knowledge gap in wildlife policy making and education. Now, I would like to invite one of our interns team member to introduce about today's speaker. Thanks for joining us.
On behalf of BCF India, I, Marina Johnson, intern of BCF, privileged in introducing our today's speaker, Dr. B. Ram Manohar, Senior Biologist, Retired District Eco Club Coordinator, School Education Department, Tanjavur, to this 40th International Webinar. He did his BSc in Zoology and MSc in Wildlife from Madras University. Then he did B.Ed and M.Ed from Annamalai University and PhD from Rajasthan University. He has 20 years of experience in research and teaching. From 1984 to 85, he was Junior Field Biologist in Bombay Natural History Society Ecological Research Station, Bharatpur, in Keoladeo National Park. From 1985 to 90, he was Junior Research Fellow in University of Rajasthan in Ecology of Primates at Jaipur. From 1991 to 2010, he worked as postgraduate teacher in Government Higher Secondary School, Oratanada, Tamil Nadu. From 2010 to 2011, he was assistant coordinator of RMSA scheme, and later since 2011, he is working as district eco coordinator, chief education office, Tanjavur. He also served as coordinator for disaster management training for teachers in Tanjavur district in 2008. In 2003, he received State Award for Environment Education, Sudaroli, by the Department of Environment, Government of Tamil Nadu, and Republic Day Best Service Award in Environment Education by District Collector, Tanjavur in 2006. He has published about 130 popular articles and 15 research papers, and also published books on wildlife and environment conservation in 2001, biodiversity and sanctuaries in 2003, and nature animal behavior in 2008. BCF is happy in connecting the eminent professionals, stakeholders, students and public on this international webinar during this COVID-19. We are delighted to connect our eminent speaker, Dr. B. Ram Manohar, Senior Biologist, Retired District Eco Clubs Coordinator, School Education Department, Tanjavur, on this virtual forum and waiting to listen on an overview of knowledge gap in wildlife policy making and education. Over to you, sir. Thank you all.
Good evening. I'm very grateful to BCF and the organizers and the officials of the BCF and the attendees or participants of this international webinar. First of all, I wish to congratulate your effort to conserve our Indian biodiversity by the propagating this kind of seminars continuously in this COVID-19 period. Because for the past 40 years, I was studying and I was doing some research, and so many experiences in my life across the India, across the Tamil Nadu, happened to be invited by BCF as a chief guest for this international webinar. I am very happy and I am grateful to particularly our education department and my AVC college also, because these kind of people are doing lot of things nowadays. In the 80s, it was very slow. We were entering into that field very initially, and our views were very blind. That time, that course were introduced. Now we are having this topic, an overview of knowledge gap in policy, wildlife policy, and environment policy making and education is a topic. But now I want to present some slides, and I wish to explain about what are the gaps wildlife policy having still after 40 years. Because we are having a lot of knowledge in this wildlife, definitely. Those who are all doing BSc Zoology and MSc Wildlife Biology and MSc Environmental Science, so many academic achievements are going on, so many researches are going on. Everything is very fine after 40 years. But how far this wildlife conservation is coming to the people, or awareness about the wildlife and forest are very feeble, and people are very taking very slowly this kind of aesthetic sense, only in aesthetic sense. So here I want to just to show you some slides, and I will talk to you about this because as we explicitly know, our Indian wildlife resources very rich from plants, fungi, and other smaller organisms which grow in wild. It also includes mainly large animals in jungles. You know everything, but as a prelude, I have to talk about these things. Every living organism has the right to live, and every threatened species must be protected to prevent its extinction. It is also known by every one of us. For the past 40 to 50 years, the environmental and wildlife conservation issues are emerging, and it is the top of the global agenda in the context of climate change. The collective endeavor of protection and environment and wildlife is need of our. Here, voluntary realization and participation of all sectors of society is very much important, particularly environmental education and administration policy training is also very important. But rapid urbanization and industrialization, increasing the needs of energy, which have impacted the availability of natural resources, besides deteriorating the quality of environment. Environmental damages, wildlife depletion already inflicted cannot be reversed unless collective thinking and will and efforts of future generation and administration and policy makers. Here, I wish to have some experiences about my life, and this is the first thing. I think these are all things we have to see. Already you may know these things because you are all research people in biodiversity. These data are all very interesting. This kind of wildlife we are having, but our endemic species is also very interesting. Very few animals in amphibia, reptiles, and birds and mammals. These are all very endemic to our India. But I want to say something about this depletion of wildlife in ancient days. This depletion is due to the hunting and courageous act by our ancestors. Actually, these carnivores were considered as man-eaters and killers some days back, some 40 to 50 years back. Tribal people were also meeting day-to-day life, and they're thinking to kill all the carnivores in the forest. It was happened in 16th century Mughal dynasty. Actually, these regarding the depletion, because these are all prelude, we have to go for these things. Because unless we can talk about this, we cannot go for this wildlife education policy. Already, we have seen these historical evidences. In 1911 year, George V, 39, he killed 39 tigers, and in 1920 at Rajasthan Kota, King Umid Singh killed so many tigers, almost 109. 80,000 tigers were killed up to 1925. Only after 75 years, in 1972, only this policy came. In 1971, 1,800 tigers were living. In 1974, Tiger Project was started. In 1984, it was rising, population was rising, but the actual problem lies in 1980s, decrease in population. Before going into these things, how this course were started in wildlife, because in India, almost forest knowledge were too much in 70s. I want to say my experiences when I am entering into this wildlife biology course. Wildlife biology course, because initially we have got nothing except a syllabus. Why I am saying this past history, nowadays people studying in wildlife biology, they are having good syllabus and they are having good resources, books and references, everything, everywhere, and almost every college in Ooty and Wildlife Institute of India, everything, they are all having so much of resources because of our science and technology development. But in 80s, we were started looking for knowledge in everywhere in and around Tamil Nadu. Initially, I started my wildlife experience in 1981. Though I was visiting so many times to Point Alimar Sanctuary and Udayamarthandapuram Bird Sanctuary, as well as Mudumalai Sanctuary. After studying wildlife biology only, the importance of wildlife occurred in my mind. During 1981, I attended one World Wildlife for Nature camp in 1981, and that camp was very interesting. That was the opportunity to meet the Dr. Krishnamurthy Elephant Man. Day before yesterday is a memorable day. During that time, tiger postmortem was undertaken by him. But except him, no technical people from Forest Department were. All are idle, and everywhere, even range officer, that wildlife warden was not knowing anything about the elephant or tiger, and also because in tiger postmortem, it was happened in night actually in 1981 December, I think. Due to lack of infrastructure, everything, technical suggestions were not there. Only by the man, Dr. Krishnamurthy, it was doing. That time I was thinking how difficult this kind of forest animals protection in this country. Even when I enter into that wildlife biology course, we were not having binoculars. We were not having camera, except notebooks, scribbling pads, and pen. We were very blind to enter into that field. Like that camp was very interesting. We were visiting Shola Forest. That time only a pair of binoculars were there. field assistants were helping us to identify the LTM, lion-tailed macaque, and we have seen the pug marks of tigers, and we were taking the pug marks by using another tools. That was not technical tool actually. These kind of experiences made me to have a good talk in this webinar actually. No camera were there. How we can experience and how we have to record, these are all not learnt by us that time. In 1982 also, 1981 and 82 also, Mudumalai Wildlife Sanctuary we have visited for our project work, dissertation work. That time we were staying in the Masinagudi Forest Rest House. I was studying feeding ecology of chital and what are the plants they were taking for the food, and what are the areas they were going for the drinking water. These are all the things we have taken, but nobody was guiding us except the forest people. Those forest people were also very ignorant and they were not knowing about the wildlife education. That time, Dr. Mangalraj Johnson was the only person who has guided us, and we have modified our dissertation after coming to our college. That assistants help, course assistants, they are all tribes actually. Still I can remember their names. Boran. They will take us to the inside the forest, and they will use their own field technology, and they will show landmarks, and they will try to help us by teaching us about the smell of elephants and all the things. This kind of experience made us to complete that MSc Wildlife Biology as a first set of students. After that, I got the appointment at Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary in BNHS. I served as a junior field biologist. That was a very interesting area. There I have learned very much of things about the wildlife and the birds, ornithology, everything. 29 square kilometer, 4 lakes were there. 360 species of birds were coming in the winter season for migration. There I have studied bird census, limnology of 4 lakes, water collection and chemical, analyzing the chemical constituents of that water. And I have studied the planktons, physicochemical factors. In spite of that, I studied the movement of bonnet macaque, porcupine, nilgai, and I recorded more pythons and also. After that, 1.5 years passed in BNHS. I entered into my PhD career. That was in Jaipur city and forest. I have studied the population of langurs and rhesus monkeys in the forest and the pink city of Jaipur. More than that, I have studied the food feeding ecology of Presbytis entellus and ecology and infanticide records. These are all the things we have learnt in that time. From 1980 to 85, we were very blind. That was the only course in ABC college around the country. But very few people were properly trained by their experiences and by the eminent professors from various universities. And these are the experiences. But unless we get the proper wildlife education, this cannot be feasible for frame the wildlife policy. Here I want to express my feelings about my thinking and my writing on the environment wildlife policy. Because before reviewing the wildlife policy and laws, we have to see the disasters of nature occurred by avoidance of wildlife experts or ecological experts and their suggestions. Nowadays, we are seeing the flood due to monsoon everywhere, particularly in South India, Tamil Nadu, Kerala. But Kerala was affected by these cyclones. A lot of human beings and animals are also affected. Here we can see the 2 case studies regarding this problem. During 2018 August month, Kerala has witnessed heavy rains and flood. 41 rivers from Western Ghats were flooding on August 10, 2018. 82 reservoirs dams were fully filled and exceeded their limit. They were opened by their due date. The entire Western Ghats, western side of the forests were devastated. 900 square kilometer area of Kuttanadu were inundated. Though government of Kerala was taking good measures for relief activities, already warning was given by the IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change, already have given the warning. In spite of that, nothing was happened in that time. Western coastal area of Kerala, 590 kilometers, all rivers are entering into the Arabic Sea. But unfortunately, more deaths were happened, nature were destroyed. What for this? Why these things are happened in that time? Because of the ignorance of the wildlife and environment suggestions. We are always depending upon the technology and not by nature. Because already 24% of forests were recorded by the government. It seems that the same hill gardens, estates were also included in that 24%. But in 19th century, 75% of Kerala was full of forests. It was recorded in 20th century coming down as 50%. But due to human population rise, this kind of encroachments happened on Western Ghats area. Lot of human settlements, agriculture areas, tea estates made the entire nature area changed into urban area. Urbanization, tourism, repatriates rights, all these things in 1990 years were considered by the governments to the, and this kind of encroachment hills were occupied. But 2011 year, the eminent environmentalist and wildlife biologist Dr. Madhav Gadgil, he formed a committee, and the committee was worried and warned this kind of situation, and it has to be protected. Because he has already warned in some 7 years back about these disasters, but nobody was hearing at that time. So what is the use of studying wildlife and wildlife policy making in this country? I don't know. Because he classified 3 types in that Western Ghats area: intense protection area, important eco areas, and normal areas. But administrations were reluctant to implement this kind of activities in Kerala at that time because of the ignorance of wildlife knowledge. As the environment includes not only forest and wildlife, it also concentrates wetlands, urban, rural lakes, city and forest. But the town planning and residential housing are all developing without environment orientation by the administration of local bodies, municipal corporation. Recently, we are also witnessing the floods during 2015 and 2020 in Chennai also. But every year after December, these kind of things are happening, but relief measures and funds are disbursement for poor people are going on. These temporary actions taken by administration are also continuing. Without the proper planning of environmental wildlife knowledge, these undesirable incidences are experienced by our people long ago. Since so many years, we are getting the same problems because we are always ignorant about the environment and nature. So many courses, so many awarenesses, so many programs, lot of funds are raising for the awareness and research, everything. But still we cannot go for the proper implementation of these wildlife education policy and wildlife conservation policy and environmental policy in our country due to the technology development. Because after December, everything will come to normal. People are happy and they don't think about the flood and cyclone and all. These are the things. In late 1980s, there was a plan of establishing a National Research Center for Wetland Ecology, which will monitor and do research for all the wetlands, lakes, ponds in our country. But due to unknown reasons, that proposal was dropped by the government. If it would have been implemented, lot of wetland wildlife ecologists might have studied the entire country wetland environment. As per the guidelines they would have given, and the experts were there, and the city town planning and residential area would have been planned properly. But generally, environment and wildlife are ignored by the administration. These factors are all taken, not considered. Likewise, our ignorance of wildlife policy goes like this. These slides, how it has happened due to human population rise, Wildlife Act policy dilution, previous mistakes we have committed and not realizing about the previous mistakes, avoiding of expert suggestions like Dr. Madhav Gadgil, and the implementation is very poor, and lack of proper personnel. Here only we have to talk about that wildlife biologists and environmentalists in everywhere. So there were several economic benefits yielded from the forest and wildlife environment. Still, generally, people are looking this nature and wildlife only for aesthetic sense and tourism, attraction. It is sad that most of our people are not at all thinking about the scientific, ecological importance of the forest. Even highly educated technologists from various fields of science are always ignoring these biological facts of environment, climate, forest, wildlife in India. I don't know why it has happened after so many years, 40 years of experiences. Nowadays, so many courses, so many people are in administration. But real wildlife technology and real wildlife enthusiasts are ignored by the administration. It seems to be very sad. Pathetically, these traditional knowledge which are not documented, because illiterate traditional farmers, villagers, tribes are always having more knowledge on nature. Pathetically, these traditional knowledge are not at all documented, and they are also ignored. Nowadays, we are all seeing these kind of problems in this year, 2020 also. Here, actual wildlife biologists and environmentalists who are all doing field work in the forest are to be given priority in the conservation of environment and wildlife. Their experiences and knowledge may be given due consideration in the environment and wildlife conservation. Because the zoology is a different course. Botany is a different course. Forestry is also suffering like that. And wildlife also suffering like that. Why this sad situation for these courses? Only very few people are going for the upper post and top brass post as a director or lecturer or somewhere in research scientist and all. But these researchers are always cornered for the only funds release and their upliftment only, not for the upliftment of society. This is a very sad thing happening. What is the gap actually in wildlife environmental policy and state administration and central administration, which are always affecting the environment? Because thinking environment means some people are thinking that only plantation of trees. This is, as I am the wildlife biologist as well as the district coordinator for eco clubs in school education, most teachers and lecturers are always thinking green means only planting trees, not thinking about wildlife, not thinking about birds, and they are all very ignorant about this wildlife also. Here, what is the gap in wildlife and policy making? Mostly policy making is very interesting in our country. In the beginning itself, I told you that everything will be in paper, not in implementation. What for these problems? Why these kind of problems occur in our country? Because in 1972 only Wildlife Protection Act came. After that also 1973 Tiger Project came. Ecological awareness started in every forest and sanctuaries and national parks, but nothing was happened. After 20 years also, the tiger project was failure. Only population were not satisfied. The tiger population were not satisfied. After that, 1986, environmental policy came. After that, 2002 Biodiversity Act came. These are all the acts and policies are occur in books and our systems. But how they are implemented, it is very sad. So, gap in wildlife and environmental policy is to be looked out, and how can we change? Some suggestions, but these are all not to be taken as the final one, because in my point of view, actually, due recognition not given to the wildlife biology people as well as the forest people in our country. In our country, we are having different government departments like Revenue Department, Panchayat Development Department, Public Works Department. In all districts, it is somewhat variably occurring in different states. Department of Environment and Forests are not at all coordinating with the above departments. I don't know the reason, but being a revenue Tahsildar's son, my father was always telling that everything come to under the revenue department, because that administration means revenue. They won't see about the technical suggestions. Whatever the thing occurs at that time, they will go for that time on relief only. I always, this Department of Environment and Forests not at all coordinating in this revenue and panchayat development, because people welfare service departments, but environment department and forest service are not at all considered as people service. Scientifically, we are studying food web, ecological chain, everything related with wildlife and environment comes to the human being. But nobody in other powerful departments or administrative services, civil services, people are not considering this environment and wildlife as a proper department for the welfare of the people. The cause of this pathetic situation is sticking on old ancient policy and rules without the knowledge of biodiversity and environment, wildlife administration, everything. So every district administration should give due importance for Department of Environment and Wildlife and Biodiversity. Though revenue and panchayat disaster management sectors of the government are doing several services to the people of rural and urban areas, technical advices and suggestions, measures to be implemented from wildlife biologists and environmentalists. These people may be appointed in all taluks and panchayats apart from wildlife sanctuaries, national parks. Even in forests and wildlife sanctuaries, proper environmentalists or wildlife biologists should be appointed in a regular basis. Nowadays, our students are also there as a temporary biologist, or they are in projects for some time. They will work for the welfare of the project, but most of the time, these administrative people of the forest will ignore these people's suggestions and their research and all. These are the difficulties we are all looking day to day as BCF also. I think they will also face these kind of problems, because these kind of suggestions from the wildlife knowledge are not properly documented, and they are not at all properly trained to these administrative people. So even 70 years after independence, we are facing this unwanted situation. undesirable situation. Why this happened? Most of the countries are doing very much good administration in forests and sanctuaries, national parks. In our India, somewhat developing, not very worst, but so many hurdles are there to do research, to conserve everything. In 1982, I and myself and my friends were Dr. Adora Murthy, Dr. Murugan, Mr. Prabhakaran. We were staying in Masanagudi and we were facing also the same problem. What the problem was, you know, actually that problem was, one day we were visiting the field in Masanagudi to watch the Chittal spotted deer. That time, one hind, Chittal hind was attacked by the stray dogs in that area. That stray dogs were chased out by us by throwing the stones and logs, etc. But we have taken that hind, Chittal hind, to that range office. That forester was telling, sorry sir, we don't have any medicine here. Only wildlife veterinary doctor is at Teppakadu. That is almost 5 to 7 kilometers from Masanagudi. We are very sorry, we cannot help to save that animal. That time we were thinking, what is the worst situation in this 320 square kilometer Mudumalai sanctuary? Only one wildlife veterinary doctor to concentrate the problems of the health of the animals. Why can't they appoint so many wildlife veterinarians, at least 2 for each range? That time, I don't know now about the situation, what is the situation, but only one wildlife veterinary doctor was there. Before going, we were trying to carry that animal to the Teppakadu by jeep. That time, on the way, that animal died. Unfortunately or fortunately, those forest officials were taken as a food. That animal. Why I am saying this kind of incidences to you, know, this kind of happenings are occurring without the knowledge of common people and educated in the forest and doing forest services and so this kind of problems in wildlife administration, forest administrations are always common. Previously, it was under Ministry of Agriculture. During late 80s only, it was Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change. Here they are doing so many services, forest, pollution, environment, everything. But these different departments linking is not proper. Forest department is not coordinating with the wildlife. Wildlife is not coordinating with the forest, as well as environment and pollution is also different. Because pollution is coming under the board. Department of Environment is different. Forest is under the department. But environment department doing so many awareness about the forest and wildlife. But unfortunately, these departments are not having coordination. Likewise, revenue, rural welfare, disaster management, these units are also not interested to have the link with the environment department. What is the reason behind this? The administration, the power mongering of the revenue and rural welfare people and the civil services people are always concentrating the welfare of the people by doing relief measures only. They don't listen the wildlife knowledge and the proper environment knowledge. This is because of the lacking of the wildlife experts in disaster management force and the lack of coordination also. So, therefore, the policies for wildlife conservation to be modified according to the latest advancements of wildlife research. Then only population of important endangered species in plants and animals may be protected and their healthy atmosphere may be monitored. Even biodiversity register work may also undertaken by this policy change. Likewise, wetland administration may be monitored not only by Public Works Department, Revenue Department, Panchayat officials. The role of biologists to be assured in that area. So administrative structures may be modified as per the need of the feasibility of that area and the time. Here I am showing one slide, Department of Environment, Wildlife Forest, wildlife experts in taluks and panchayats. We can have one district environment conservation officer may be attached with the forest department. In addition to the forester, he has to be given the rank of range officer or equal to the divisional officer like RDO or some DSP cadre, because in the he will monitor all the environment areas in the district. Likewise, he will have so many environmentalists or wildlife biologists in that area, the taluk level or block level. He may be monitoring those environmentalists. Those environmentalists may be doing the biodiversity register work, monitoring wetlands, poaching, illegal hunting. Here, what is the problem? Forest department is always hindering, or they may be given some hurdles because they are all powerful people. But technology-wise, our environmentalists and wildlife biology people are so smart, and they will enter to the forest at any time. Nowadays, so many technology help are also there. So in national parks and wildlife sanctuaries also, wildlife biologist appointment may be assured. In each and every wildlife sanctuary, one wildlife biologist, he will maintain the population ecology, and the problem of clutches of other departments in that forest area and lake area may be relieved, because in every forest, some of the areas may be attached with the revenue or panchayat or Porambok. Likewise, in wetland area, they will also come under the rural area. These clutches were to be relieved by the forest and wildlife. It has to be independent area, and that independent area must be monitored by the wildlife biologist and population expert, forest expert. These are all to be monitored by the district environmental officer. Nowadays also district environmental engineer is there in pollution control board. But what is the role of DEE is, I think he will look after only the industries and polluted areas. But so many problems are there. They are not coming to the forest department, and they are not coming under the forest department or wildlife. Likewise, our technology is also developing. In this 21st century, we are having so many technology-oriented people in our NGOs and Wildlife Institute of India, and so many colleges. They are also having well-trained people. We are having more traditional practice to study wildlife, because in our days, in the 80s, we were having only traditional knowledge in that forest entering time, and we were very slow in that process. But nowadays, latest developments in this field may also be listened properly by the administration. Because habitat preservation should always be the highest priority in the entire ecosystem and many species simultaneously. Importance of zoos conservation also has grown over the last 3 decades. Its role involves in research-related conservation and rehabilitation also. Here, wildlife biologist appointment may be in zoos also happening. But they are also very temporary. They are not equal to the civil services cadre in IFS and for range officer cadre also. They are treated as only second grade and third grade officer. Its role involves in research related to the conservation and rehabilitation. Therefore, technology-oriented wildlife biologists, environmentalists may be given more employment opportunities in zoos and natural areas, because forest department people who are all related in afforestation projects won't be suitable to maintain healthy atmosphere of animals in zoos. But the coordination between forest personnel and wildlife experts should be ensured, because nowadays we are having the camera traps, drones, we are having the facility of remote sensing, radio telemetry, GPS tracking, implantation transmitters, chemical immobilization, mobile applications, everything is there. But how far forest people are doing these things? Proper training must be given to these people by the wildlife biologists, and coordinating with the forest department people, they can undertake the conservation activities. Environment and wildlife education policy. Environment education is necessary for all of us, particularly children and youth, that produces environmentally responsible citizenry, awareness, knowledge, attitude, skills, and participation are the various components. Likewise, in colleges and universities, we are also having the compulsory subject as wildlife and environment. But most of them seems to be very ritual. While in school education, funds from central and state government are distributed to more institutions, monitoring people are very less, and their role seems to be not worthful, as they are not permanent people. So many universities, colleges started these wildlife biology courses everywhere, but job opportunities not linked with the course. So job opportunities for this wildlife biology linked with the department and other organizations who are all involved in the research of wildlife and the environment. Hereby, I wish to mention that environment education wing, because in 1986 only school education have that environment education policy. In colleges and universities, 1990, but it is very ritual. They are all doing some local conservation work, but change of youth attitude may give some change in our administration. Due to lack of monitoring and lack of wildlife experts, these kind of environment education policy also diluted. Here I am showing one slide. Actually Department of Environment nowadays serving as a National Green Corps awareness programs, but these National Green Corps awareness program is only thriving in some 10 states in the country properly, because these 10 states are all doing very much nice work, because Tamil Nadu is foremost for everything. In our Tamil Nadu, more than 8,000 schools are having this National Green Corps unit, and they are dispersing the knowledge of environment. So this kind of a National Green Corps unit are doing very good service to the school children and college students. Nowadays, our wildlife education policies should be framed properly to create the awareness. Here you can see the slide one thing, environment wildlife awareness in our country. Government departments are doing most regarding work, like NGC. NGOs are also doing best work. Schools, colleges, service organization, they are all doing wildlife, bird conservation, pollution, forest, lake, river, water conservation, We are having the timetable to follow everything from June to February, World Environment Day, everything is there. But how far this kind of awareness is going to the people and administrative people is due to lack of infrastructure. Because one thing is policy confusions. Policy confusion here, what is the policy confusion actually? Which has to give the preference, technology or the nature. This is the problem of our India. If we are very much concentrate of policy, lack of implementation is the another hurdle. Then technology problems, lack of maintenance and monitoring, because we don't have proper trained personnel to disseminate the awareness or implement the wildlife conservation in our country. This is my experience. After that, no proper trained employees. If anybody enters into the forest department, automatically without wildlife knowledge also, he can get the superior post. He may get some trainings and wildlife education, everything and all, but how far this will be fruitful for our environment in this country, I don't know. So, quality of environment, environmental implications, proper orientation only by the proper wildlife policy framing only. This kind of problems occur everywhere in our country. So I want to say some suggestions in this juncture. To make the clear policy, we have to coordinate with all the departments. Even it is the highways or public works department or electricity department or any other thing, energy department. Clear policy should be framed for the linear infrastructure. So all the departments to get the suggestions from the environmentalists and wildlife biologists, because you can see the day-to-day problems of gas pipes going on the nature area, highways, roads in the forest and the agricultural area, electricity lines in the agricultural area and the forest. These kind of problems are occurring due to the non-coordination with the experts of wildlife and the environment only. So the hurdles should be removed by the experts in wildlife and environment only. They have to study and they have to give the proper suggestion for the higher people in the various departments. So every impact assessment should be properly carried out for everything for the development projects. Next thing, green energy. Next thing, green energy projects improvement in our country, because we are all lacking of so many natural resources. We have to improve our green energy projects like solar, hydropower projects. Then next, managing, enhancing natural quality of diversity of wildlife habitats, because maintaining the natural quality of wildlife habitats is very difficult one that must be undertaken by the wildlife biologists. The natural quality always affected by the developmental projects in and around the forest sanctuaries everywhere. Mostly animals are affected, wildlife are affected. Nowadays also we are seeing so many problems in Western Ghats, and the research people, eminent people in BCF, they are all facing so many hurdles to undertake the conservation policy in that area. So the policy must be very clear to enhance the natural quality of diversity of wildlife habitats. Next thing is law enforcement. Tough wildlife laws should be implemented by the forest people, by this, after getting the suggestions from the wildlife biologists. Next thing is preparation of wildlife management plan for every year as per the statistics, as per the experiences got by the wildlife biologists in each and every sanctuary. Because qualified ecologists must be appointed, qualified wildlife biologists, those who are having lot of experiences in the management, they can prepare the wildlife management plan for each and every sanctuary. That must be annual, and that annual plan must be approved by the government. Then only implementation will come. Next thing is building the professional capacity is very much important, because each and every forest and wildlife sanctuary should have wildlife biologists. Means those who are properly trained or those who have studied wildlife biology or forestry must be appointed, and they have to given the periodical knowledge on conservation and the problems of conservation. Then only the professional capacity of that wildlife management should occur. After that, for everything we need public support. If we are winning the public support in and around the area of the sanctuaries and national parks, then the conservation will be definitely fruitful. But most of the time, we are all facing the trouble due to the tribal settlements and also the animal entering into that housing area, residential area. So we have to create the awareness and the welfare measures for the tribal people in and around the area. It has to be monitored by these wildlife biology people, because administration is different, technology is different, already I told you. So public support is very much important. After that, redefining of the wildlife officials' role. Who has to do what work? This is very important. Forestry means it is for the afforestation and maintaining the forest and going inside the forest, illegal cutting to be monitored. These are all the things. But wildlife biology people, they are always having the research knowledge. They only know the animal behavior. They are only interested to go inside the forest to observe the animals and problems facing for these animals. So redefining of wildlife official role may be implemented in the policy. Creating professional cadres for managing wildlife sanctuaries. So again, I want to say that courses related with wildlife should be increased in the areas where the sanctuaries and national parks are occurring. Now we are having the courses in Mayiladuthurai and Ooty only in Tamil Nadu. In some colleges, they are having some optional paper. But wherever these important sanctuaries and national parks are there, that area college should get that priority to serve for the wildlife sanctuary by introducing their students for their project work and their 4-year wildlife biology undergraduate courses and 2 to 5 year PG trained courses must be implemented in all the colleges. Particularly, priority should be given to the areas of wildlife sanctuaries, because our engineering, medicine people they are all getting the very good status in our society, and they are getting very good salary also. But our wildlife biology people are always working hard. Since 1980, I am watching this kind of problems, and very few people are going abroad, and very few people are going to the ministry, and some people are getting scientist posts, and very few people are going for conservation efforts. Most of them are creating NGOs and they are doing their services to this country. But proper acknowledgement, proper appreciation is not getting for this wildlife and environment in this country. So our students who are all managing and conserving wildlife sanctuaries must be given priority like engineering and medicine. Next to that, ecological auditing of the wildlife habitats is very much necessary because population ecology, statistics, social sciences to trained people is also necessary. Because I have studied population ecology of Prosperity centellus as well as the Macaca mullata in Jaipur. But practically problems in city also. So we have to give the suggestions for the relocation of these animals to the wildlife sanctuaries. Most of the pink city of the Jaipur were having more than 3,000 rhesus macaques and more than 2,000 Prosperity centellus, that is common langur, in and around that temple and palace area. But they were creating so much of problems inside the residential area and temple. But we are having in this country pathetic situation is our people are always orthodox and they are all divine look, having divine look. They are all praying these monkeys. In Jaipur, they were praying monkeys and they were giving so much of food to the monkeys. By the exhaustive feeding, population were also rising. Due to population rise, that population gives another suffering, so much of bacterial and viral diseases to that people, skin diseases. That was observed by our guide, Dr. Reena Mathur, and she was giving other project in 1987 and 88, but that time I was not there. That project was actually that pathology of people in and around Pink City by the monkeys, that diseases occurred and how they are all happening. So in this situation, people should respect our wildlife people and should hear our management principles, and forest department also, corporation people, they should give the priority how to relocate that disturbing animals, how to relocate that pest animals to that area, from that area to the another forest. So ecological auditing of wildlife habitats must be necessary by the wildlife management people. This next one, high quality of wildlife science research must be encouraged. Because science research is different, wildlife science research is different. As you know, we are all always entering very dangerous forest, and our life is not so much of easy. Now I am 60 years old, but you are all young people, you are all doing so much effort by the technology, and you are having good quality of research in wildlife and conservation. So this high quality of wildlife science research should be appreciated and should be given proper approval by the government. And based on that only, wildlife education policy and implementation policy should be incurred. More than that, qualified scientists, academic research, conservation research people were acknowledged by the government, Ministry of Environment and Forests, by the central government and state government. In all these things, we are seeing so many problems for the past 40 years in the implementation, in the education. We are having so much of knowledge and we are having the understanding, but we are not having the skill properly. Nowadays, that skill also coming by the people like you from BCF doing so much of conservation activities, but the attitude is not there in the administration as well as in the people. So public support is very much necessary. Here, public support, whenever the animal enters into the residential colonies, they are all cursing the animals and the department and the government also. why it has happened like this? It is due to the lack of knowledge on environment and wildlife, because we are entering into the forest to build so many buildings and so many residential areas, gardens and agricultural areas. We are compromising with this human population and all. So public support must be needed by the awareness only. So we can go for wildlife filmmakers, photographers, natural history writers, amateur naturalists, citizen scientists, nature clubs should be encouraged everywhere. So wildlife education policy and implementation policy must be like this. Overall view about wildlife policy modification, we have to maintain the sustainable landscapes in and around the sanctuaries and national parks. We have to expand the wildlife habitat day to day, not only day to day, in every year, because unwanted encroachments are always there by the developmental projects. Green energy projects should be encouraged. After that also, we have to give the professional capacity building, and public support is very much needed. Encouraging wildlife environment and expertise, this is very interesting. So I want to say one thing only, knowledge is there. For the past 40 years, we are getting so much of knowledge of Indian wildlife and conservation. We are all talking it, we are all writing it, we are all speaking it in webinars and seminars in colleges and universities. We are all having good understanding about this wildlife management. We are all having good views on the wildlife education, but we don't have the kind of skills. But these skills are also properly trained by the NGOs and sometimes in government also. But attitude must be changed. This attitudinal change is very much necessary for our government people, administrative people, and also to the public. This attitudinal change is very much important for the framing of the wildlife education and environment policy. After that only application. In this, attitude and application is something different, because even if we have the attitude, we will be failing in the application because of the non-cooperation of other departments and other department people like revenue, panchayat development, and other things also. So, so many hurdles are in conservation of wildlife in India. Here, I am very happy that I can give some suggestions and knowledge, in the opportunity for a knowledge dispersing by this webinar is very interesting. My kind suggestion is, we can give so much of knowledge and suggestions to everybody, but regarding the implementation, regarding the attitude, regarding the application, government should do so many things, and we people like BCF and other colleges and other young people who are all interested in the wildlife career must be properly trained, and they have to take it properly to go and approach the higher people to implement the wildlife in this country. Otherwise, we will be losing so much of nature areas in and around the country. In future, our people, we have learned so many things in these 40 years, but we are not satisfied about the conservation of wildlife in our India. Why? We have studied wildlife biology, we have created awareness wildlife biology, we have got the PhD, we have got, we are doing the research, and we have understood the animals, birds, everything. But due to lack of awareness and attitude, this wildlife implementation and management implementation is very poor, and we hope we can do something in future. And I am very grateful to you people for listening me, my I'm a very normal person who had studied this wildlife biology before 40 years. Actually, I was amazing why I was invited for this kind of seminar, because making wildlife education policy and the environment policy is the problem of government. But my experiences shows some indicators to you youth people and BCF people, how this can be treated and how it can be modified. These are all my few suggestions only. This is not a documentary evidences to create this kind of framing work and all. Anyway, I'm very thankful to Dr. Kumaraguru. He was showing very kind and courtesy to me for this seminar, and my grateful to you and Professor Dr. Satyanarayana. He was in the webinar as a participant. He was a very interesting wildlifer. Now also he is doing so many webinars and awareness programs in and around Chennai. As far as me concerned, this is a very good opportunity for me. My experiences which I have got from Mudumalai, Top Slips, Point Calumet, and everywhere in Jim Carpet also I have visited. And my studies in Bharatpur and Jaipur also was very nice. But regarding the implementation, conservation, we are very poor still after 40 years. So again, we have to think about this wildlife education, monitoring and implementation in our country. We have to give the priority for the technology in the wildlife people. We should not be very very courteous to the laws and acts. Laws and acts are always there to follow, but deviating the laws and acts by the administrative people is not worthful. So technology people must be given priority and proper respect by the administrative people, and then only wildlife in India will prosper and wildlife conservation will be meaningful in this country. My views on knowledge gap in wildlife environment and policy making education is very few, and these gaps to be filled up, hope these gaps to be filled up in future, at least after 5 years or 10 years. By that time, who will be there? And our BCF people, our wildlife biology people must be there to implement the policy to conserve the wildlife of the environment, wildlife and the environment in this country. Thank you for the opportunity given by me, given by the BCF. Me, thank you one and all.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for your wonderful presentations and wonderful talk about how the knowledge gap in wildlife policy making and education. Since you are a coordinator, especially in National Green Corpus, working in the Tanjavur and many districts, you have a person inspired many of young people. You forgot about how the government will be bringing the knowledge gap, especially in policy making. But definitely, you inspired many of young minds. Definitely, one day they can become your ruler. They can bring all kinds of conservation, especially in our lives. Always depends to make a sustainable livelihood. So, sustainable livelihood is one of the very important fact. So, definitely they can bring. Thanks for your wonderful speech, Doctor.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Dr. Kumaraguru and Ram Manohar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
I am retired from Satyanarayana from Chennai. I am retired from JVC.
Good evening, sir.
Very nice, very nice. See, actually, you have highlighted all the problems and perspectives of the wildlife biology course and in the admin setup. I think one thing, Ram Manohar, what is my observation is that we have also taken steps for that the wildlife scientist post. Yeah,
yes,
or the wildlife post in all the sanctuaries.
Yes,
For
sir.
information, when I was in the Wildlife Institute of India, the track
Yes, sir.
committee, training, research, and advisory committee member, and
Yes, sir.
there are all the chief wildlife in different states, 12 states, maybe, and also I am one of the from the academic side, and one more
Okay, sir.
post other side. But there
Okay.
also I found it very difficult to put it in the resolution, and fortunately, with all my efforts, we are just included in the resolution that in all the parks, in all, for example, Wildlife Sanctuary National Park, there should be a wildlife biologist, and
Yes.
it has been forwarded to Minister of Environment and Forest, but after that, nothing happened. It is lying with the department,
Yes,
and
sir.
this also when our senior wildlife biologist and Dr. Johnson Agent also
Yes,
felt
sir.
very bad of this opinion that nothing happened for the wildlife. That's the one thing, Ram Manohar. Then again,
Yes, sir.
I suggest for the wildlife biologists, young wildlife biologists that
Yes, sir.
please kindly prepare for the Indian Forest Services. See, my opinion is that our wildlife biology course we have studied right good, but how you have qualified is that go for the IFS. How many of us wildlife biology students appeared for the administrative services? Once, if you have a 10% of the wildlife biology students in administration, I think it solves everything. What you said.
Of course.
before. See,
Yes,
that
yes, sir.
is the problem with our courses. See, actually,
Yes, sir.
if what I want to know the statistics of how many of our students, how many of the wildlife biologists appeared for the administration, number one. And
Okay,
also,
sir.
there are avenues. See, we must have the negative points and the positive points. There are avenues for the wildlife, but they must also know that, for example, Jola Survey of India, every advertises for the wildlife course. Now they include as a wildlife biology. And we have also having the other thing for Ministry of Environment or other avenues are there. Of course, as you said, when you consider this, the percentage of the wildlife biology is available and the recruitment, and the same thing, whatever it may be, wildlife biology course or the zoology, whatever it may be, there are some problems. That thing our students, boys must also just know that they must be prepared for the other competitive course. For example, you have the range officer post. See, range of post, how many of our wildlife biologists appear? For your information, ABC College taking steps with the Public Service Commission, Tamil Nadu Public Service Commission, just they pressurized and they said that if the wildlife biology students come for the interview, they will be considered for the post. They may give some 10 more marks for that courses. But for information, how many of our students appear?
Yes, sir.
These are things I was saying.
Yes,
On the
yes.
sides of the client, we are also. So what I want to aware of is that there are avenues appear for the now the range officer. Now the problem again, range officer,
Yeah.
they want only the forestry. See, BS in forestry 4 years ago, because they don't
Okay.
want other subjects. See, these are things are coming up nowadays. A lot of competitions are there. But as you rightly pointed out that there are no good veterinarians in the wildlife parks and sanctuaries. It's a very pity in India. There should be like wildlife biology. There should be one veterinarian in all the forests or the whatever they protected area. This again you are rightly highlighted. And again, what you have tight, tough wildlife laws. So I am sorry
Yes.
for that statement. We have very good wildlife protection act. See, animal protection
Okay.
laws are very good in India. No, see, we are the very good lawmakers. At the same time, and my observation is that we are the best lawbreakers. That is the scenario. We have laws. These things we have to consider. Then we have very good resources for the wildlife biologists. For example, wildlife institute, ABC College or the Ooty College, the other colleges are coming up now. They're doing excellent work in the field work. I said that should not be wasted. See, whatever they have academic experience, the field training should be utilized properly by the government of India or the different state government. Of course, see, I know that I have met a lot of forest officials. They do recognize the wildlife biology, but unfortunately, due to the administrative setup, they are not in a position to have a permanent positions in all the funds. So that's it. Again, I request all the wildlife biologists to have a forum, all India level forum, and take a continuous efforts. See, you have sensitized now. It should be a beginning. You have as many as you have 500 members. Join 500 members. Send the proposal. Send whatever the memorandums all to the government and of course to the political people. All what that should be there. we do not have contempt. See, in every school I used to tell our alumni, our available, they will come, speak for 1 day, 2 days, and that ends. That's all.
Yeah,
But see, as you said, 1980 to now, 2020, 40 years. And see, on they may blame the colleges or the institutes for not taking any steps. But at the same time, the graduates should also take some steps. A continuous forum should be there. A strong forum should be there. That is why we lacking. If we have that, we have achieved something. Say, think about the optimistic way. So these are my observation, Dr. Manohar, and I think you are given a very good suggestion. But again, the policies, I think it will take maybe more than maybe 100 years. You know about the government setup, the admin setup.
Definitely, sir. Definitely, sir.
We can give, but we can go and give suggestions. We have to approach in a manner to sensitize the administrators or the policy makers. Otherwise, nothing will happen. Like zero. So the approach also very, very important now, essential. Now, of course, now there are a number of forest officials taking steps for the wildlife. We should not also deny that. Like not like earlier days. Now you can think all the parks are improved. There are a lot of technical things like camera traps or the task force or walkie-talkies, drones also used in one of the ones. That should also be considered. Of course, what you said that is good, and we also take steps, and it's a good that at least you have come forward in this forum to speak about whatever the positive and the negative points on the wildlife biology or the policies. That should be a very, very good approach. And like that, we have to go on top and sensitize the stakeholders. I mean, stakeholders with everybody, right from top to bottom, administrator. Then we will succeed. Definitely, we will succeed. But the wildlife must take a forward step and a continuous effort in order to solve these conservation, wildlife conservation problem, everlasting. So the wildlife balance awareness also may be everlasting. I think we can achieve it probably like this forum, so we can speak. And on my side also, we also take some steps to sensitize the administrators, and they give us a small projects. Maybe forest department take us a biologist in a different things. And for all the zoos, the zoological park, there should be a wildlife biologist. There are some like one zoo, some zoos and parks, they have the wildlife biologist, but it should be everywhere. All the technically clear, not as a scientist. That's also again problem in the administration. It's only technically clear. So the wildlife biology should be considered. So these are the three things, my observations. And one more thing, we are very knowing our awareness on the legal protection documents. In our curriculum, I think environmental department, sensory NGO and other coordinator, I think in how many school curriculum, we do not constitutional law, there are 51AG.
Definitely, sir.
On legal protection animals, environment, all from the first standard on slowly one chapter, one law should be. That's what legal protection animal or whatever environment, whatever you say. So this should be just sensitized our young generation. So I used to ask all the lawmakers also, law college, so why you are not implementing school curriculum? School curriculum, you can see, you know very well, the school curriculum, we don't have the chapters. It should be there. Then to the college level, this should be there. If we did, everything will be fine, I think. So we think in optimistic way. I am sure that at least our label graduates should take up an initiative right now, very, very strong initiative, and continuous effort should be there. Okay, thank you, Ramana.
Thank you, sir.
And also
thank you,
for having you an opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you,
sir.
So thanks for all participants who have joined.